All right. I'm making this video specifically to explain why I am no longer with Muscular Development. I think I just owe it to everybody and kind of want to get a few things off my chest as to why I'm not with Muscular Development. In order for me to explain thoroughly why I'm not with Muscular Development, I'm going to have to start from the beginning, which really isn't long because I wasn't with Muscular Development that long, maybe 6-8 months or so, whatever. So I always had a panel show on serious and silliness. And then I had to kind of split up Serious and Silliness into 3 YouTube channels because the variety shows don't do well. So I split it up, and one is called Serious and Silliness Outcast, which was the original channel, but I renamed it. And one was called Serious and Silliness Guy Talk. And of course, this Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding, which I started in January. And it is just all about bodybuilding, nothing else. Okay, so I had done a panel show, and I would get Jason Owens was always with me. Danny Broadhurst was always with me. Carlos, Nate, and Bo Lewis. He kind of came later on, but he was a great addition. Anyway, so this was a little while back when Nick Walker was with Hostile, and they had parted ways. So once I heard that they had parted ways, I messaged Carlos Thomas Jr., I messaged Nate, and I messaged Jason Owens, and I asked all 3 of them to please go and see if they could get him to come on our show, right? And it happened. They did. I think Nate was the one that got through to him, but I asked all 3 of them. So it happened, you know. He came on, and it was on my channel, and it was great. Nick Walker couldn't have been better, man. He was funny. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun, man. It was great. So the show goes out, and a few days later, I get a message on Instagram. Somebody from Muscular Development reached out to me and asked me to give them the call. I called, and they said, you know, would you like to do that show on Muscular Development? And I said, of course, I would love to. Absolutely. You know, who wouldn't? Now, this show was going to give me exposure. I wasn't going to get paid for the show, which is fine. It was going to give me a lot of exposure. And I had just started a new bodybuilding channel. So I was like, oh, this is great. It's going to give me exposure. I get people to join. I have my own show on Muscular Development. I mean, Muscular Development was like the biggest magazine, you know, that would compete with the Weeder magazines like Flex, you know, when I was a kid. And now they're like the #1 show that does contest coverage on YouTube, right? Great. Absolutely. Jason Owens comes over with me. He's able to have a commercial on for his product line, which is I Prevail Subs. Great products, by the way. I was able to put my little commercial on for my channel, Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding, and we're off. So let's start with the first show. The first show at that time, I remember Redcon 1 was in the news. You know, the owner was going to jail and getting out of jail. And is he cooperating? Is he not cooperating? What's going on? He crashed with the boat, pulled over a DWI. All this crap is going on with Redcon 1. So we were talking about it. I was told never to talk about Redcon 1 again because Redcon 1 was one of their sponsors. Cannot talk about Redcon 1. After that, I was given the things that I could not talk about, could talk about. Okay. The Jim Mannion scandal was in the news. Couldn't talk about that. Bodybuilding and Bullshit with Nick Trigilli was on YouTube. Can't talk about that. As a matter of fact, I couldn't talk about any other YouTube or podcast about bodybuilding on Muscular Development. As a matter of fact, I would make a joke if I had referenced another bodybuilding platform. I would say a podcast that shall remain nameless. And that was like my big joke in order to talk about a particular topic that happened on that platform. But one person and one platform that I was absolutely could not, no way in hell, able to talk about was RX Muscle and Dave Palumbo. That was a biggest no-no. That was a mortal sin on Muscular Development. All right. Gotcha. No big deal. I'll adapt. I'll deal with it. Still Muscular Development. I'm still getting exposure. Okay. Not a big deal. So now it's Ayala Classic is over, and the next show was going to be the Ayala Brazil, but it didn't do that well. But the biggest show next was obviously the New York Pro. So Carlos Thomas Jr. had said that he was going to do the New York Pro. Obviously, we all know he got gotten sick. He had to pull out, but he was going to do it. Nate Spears said he was going to go do the New York Pros. And both of those guys are on my podcast. So I said, I am absolutely going to support my friends that come on this podcast every week and help me. So I'll be there. And as a matter of fact, we all talked about being there. Me, Bo, Arns, Danny, we all were going to be there. Okay. So that's great. And we talked about it, a few weeks in a row. We were talking about maybe renting out our own studio and doing it from there, or blah, 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 all this crap. We were all talking about, and for the most part, it was a lot of fun. Well, I get a phone call from somebody from MD saying, how would you like to cover the New York Pro with Ron Harris? And I was like, what? Absolutely. That's like a dream come true. You want me to cover literally to me, that was like a dream come true. I was ecstatic. You want me to cover the New York Pro with Ron Harris on Muscular Development? Oh, I couldn't be happier, right? Of course, I was doing it for free, but it didn't bother me. And I was getting a lot of exposure and I was happy. I know I'm not an elite bodybuilder. I'm not a big time podcaster. I get it. I'm not Jose Raymond, who's always at Ron Harris. I'm not at Ron Harris. I'm not Giles. I'm not RX Muscle. I'm not Desktop Bodybuilding. I'm not Hostile. I'm serious in selling this bodybuilding, and I'm grinding and grinding and grinding because I'm not a fixture in bodybuilding. So it's 10 times harder for me to build a following because I don't have any kind of clout in the bodybuilding world. Well, we're trying to change that, right? We're grinding every week, doing a good show, putting on good content for everybody. Okay, anyway. All right. Okay. So I'm happy, right? I'm telling everybody I'm going to do the New York Pro. I'm covering it with Ron. I'm covering it for Muscular Development. I said it on the podcast. I said it on my podcast. I'm telling people that I know, like certain people in my family who know how much I'm into bodybuilding, guys at work, blah, blah, blah. I'm on cloud 9. Tell my wife the whole deal. All right. So some time goes by. Maybe about a month before the show, I had contact somebody from MD and I asked, you know what, before I get there, when I say contact somebody, I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to mention the people that I had an unfortunate relationship with. I'm not about that. I'm not going to do that. As a matter of fact, the large majority of people that I ran into or worked with at Muscular Development were great people. We can go down the list. Giles came on my platform, Series of Sons Bodybuilding. I was able to interview him. It was a great interview. He was a great dude. Ron Harris, absolute gentleman. Okay. Jose Raymond, great guy. Who else? Fackery, wonderful guy. One of the best coaches on the East Coast. No question about it. Anyway, so back to what I was going to say. All right. So I'm speaking to this person and I'm like, what should I wear? I always see Ron wearing a suit. I really, I'm not much of a suit person. I'm a blue collar guy. If I have to, I will, but I'd rather not. And, the person's like, well, just casual. You could come with a nice button down shirt and look presentable. And I said, okay. So I had this idea. I was like, how about I get a Muscular Development shirt and I wear that? And they're like, okay, that's fine. I was like, okay, great. So I ordered this Muscular Development t-shirt. We're going to get back to that because that's one of the best parts of the story. So now we're getting closer to the New York process, maybe about 2 weeks out. So I'm like, all right, I contact the people that I need to contact. I said, listen, I need press pass if I'm going to be there behind the scenes. I need a press pass. They tell me, oh, we thought you were going to get your own press pass. We were under the impression that you were going to get it yourself. I said, how am I going to get it myself? I don't know where to get it, what to do. I never did this before. Oh, okay. Well, email this one, email that one, blah, 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 blah. See if you can get a guest pass. Press pass. Sorry. I said, okay, no problem. I email these people. They get back to me the next day. Sorry, no more press passes. Can't happen. So I go back. So listen, no press pass. They're like, well, you're going to have to buy a ticket. I said, okay. How do I get reimbursed? And that seemed to be the line. The fact that I wanted to get reimbursed. And the answer I got was, well, we thought you were going to go anyway, so you could just be there to cover it. And I said, well, yeah. Well, I didn't say this. I thought this. I didn't know Put it that way. I said to myself, yeah, I am going to go. But now you're asking me to work. Now you're asking me to do the show with Ron. So at the very least, I think I could get reimbursed for the tickets I have to buy since I can't get a press pass. So that was an issue. So I call up somebody else and I have a serious conversation. And I tell them what the problem is and how I'm kind of, it's a little bit unfair. Yeah, I was a little bit more direct. I wasn't nasty. I was just direct. I think that's just kind of like my personality. I'm just a little direct. But I wasn't nasty though. I was not confrontational, just direct. And the person's, probably just confusion, misunderstanding. I'll see what I could do, blah, blah, blah. I get all the, the crap that people give you when they really don't want to deal with it. I said, okay. I tell the person, look, I'm going to be there no matter what. I'm buying the tickets. Okay. So, okay, great. I decide I'm buying the tickets. I'm going. I don't want to miss this opportunity. Don't worry about the press pass. Don't worry about the reimbursement. Don't worry about paying me. I don't care. So now we're getting closer to the New York Pro. And I would always kind of like either after or before have to tell some of the people there about what my show is going to be about next on Muscular Development. And actually, usually it wasn't. Usually they just let me do what I wanted to do. But I said to this particular person, I'm going to do a preview with the New York Pro. It was a couple of weeks before. And they told me, no, don't do a preview of the New York Pro because Giles and Ron does a preview to the New York Pro and they're sponsored by some company. So we don't want you to do a preview to the New York Pro. I said, okay. So now I'm kind of like getting aggravated. Now I'm annoyed. So I said, all right, look, I'm going to skip doing the show this week. I'm going to do the preview of the New York Pro on my channel. And they're like, okay, fine. Come back a week later. I say, okay, this is what I'm going to do this week. And they tell me, no, don't do a show this week because we have too much content with the New York Pro. Can't fit you. Can't use you. I said, okay, no problem. And I said, look, is this a permanent decision? And I actually said to the person, you could be direct with me. I'm not sensitive. You could tell me. And the person was like, no, it's not a permanent decision. If I was going to fire you, I would tell you you were fired. That's how I was spoken to. So I said, okay, no problem. So now I'm like up to here, right? I was past annoying way back, okay? But I had it up to here. So back to the t-shirt, which I think is like the cherry on the cake. Not only am I not getting paid, not only am I not getting paid for the show, which is fine, not only am I not getting paid for the coverage, not only am I not getting a press pass, not only am I not getting reimbursed for the tickets that I have to buy myself, I had to buy my own t-shirt. I mean, how petty can you get? A $25 t-shirt they would not even send me for somebody that does a show every week and is going to be covering the New York Pro on Muscular Development. I mean, this is just insane. Okay, I pay for the shirt. No big deal. I get the shirt. Now I'm like, all this crap. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, I'm not even wearing the shirt. I'm wearing my own shirt. Going to promote my own thing, right? Because now I'm like aggravated. But I'm there. I'm at the New York Pro. And I would have forgotten about all that other nonsense if what happened at the New York Pro didn't happen at the New York Pro. I was told while I was there, after I bought all the tickets and all this nonsense happened, that I was not needed to do the coverage for Muscular Development at the New York Pro. And that's when I made the decision, we're done. I'm not doing the show anymore. Contacted all the guys on the show. They were like, no problem. We're coming with you on your platform. Now, the sad part is I really enjoyed doing the show on Muscular Development. I really did. I liked those guys. I liked the chemistry. I had great people on that show. I mean, I had King Kamali on that show. I had Charles Griffin on that show. I even had Alicia Young one time on that show. Jose Raymond came on twice. Doug Fouché was with me on that show. I can't remember who else. Plenty of people were on that show. I was going to have Phil Klahar on the show, but that was the New York Pro Show that I pulled and put on my channel. And he still did the show on my channel, which I was honored that he did that because he's a fantastic bodybuilder. The good news is the show is going to keep going. Only it's going to keep going on my channel, Serious and Cylinder's Bodybuilding, and it's going to be referred to as Muscle Talk. And we're going to be recording every Wednesday, and we are going to be putting it up every Thursday. And the same crew of guys, me, Danny Broadhurst, Jason Owens, Carlos Thomas Jr., Bo Lewis, Nate Spear, we're all going to be there. And there's going to be special people coming up. The one good thing about me when I went to the New York Pro is I made contacts. Joe Seaman is coming on the show. He came in and fought at the New York Pro. I met him and his wife. Fantastic people. I mean, the nicest people. I gave them Serious and Cylinder's t-shirts I had in the back of my car. I gave them for free, which is more than Muscular Development would do. Whatever. I made a contact with Andrea Shaw. I'm hoping to get her on. I made contacts with Fred Smalls, with Tony O'Burton. I'm hoping to get all these people on my show, right? They gave me their Instagrams, their emails, their telephone numbers. So it was not a total loss. And I sincerely enjoy doing this. And my bodybuilding channel does not get paid. I am not monetized yet because I don't have enough subscribers. But I still don't care. I put my heart and soul into it. And I love it. I love bodybuilding. I will always be a fan of bodybuilding. Shit happens. I worked for a company. I worked for a platform that did me dirty, for lack of a better term. What are you going to do? Right? But I'm still here. I ain't going anywhere. I'm giving you more content, better content. Now I'm able to be more honest. I'm able to talk about other podcasts. I'm able to talk about anything that's going on in the bodybuilding world. And that's what I'm going to do from here on in. And it's going to be funny because I tell funny stories. And Owens is always making fun of me. And we have a great chemistry. And these guys really showed me how loyal they are because they have fun and they're with me. I mean, every person I told, Bo, Carlos, Nate, Arns, Danny, even Carlos's father was like, when I asked him and I told him I don't think I'm going to be on him, he goes, I don't care. Carlos's father wants to come on the show. He goes, I'll come on your platform. I don't care. I mean, these were real people, loyal people. And that means a lot to me because I'm not an elite person in the bodybuilding world. I'm grinding. I'm trying to make it. I'm a blue collar guy that just loves bodybuilding. I was a fan, just like Xavier on Desktop or Nick on Nick Strength and Power. I'm trying to do the same thing. You know, it's a lot easier to establish a podcast if you are Fouad Abiad, who is a champion bodybuilder. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, he took it to the next level. The guy is like, now he's got an empire when it comes to podcasting and supplements and so on and so forth. So, but I'm just saying that it's a little bit more difficult, but I don't care because I love doing it and I love doing the show. I couldn't wait to come home and do the show today from work and just tell you what happened about muscular development. So that's it. That's the whole story. Just do me a favor, like, subscribe, enjoy the content, comment, share it with people. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We're going to have a good time. There's going to be better people on. There's going to be great bodybuilders on. The content is just going to get better and better. And I'm going to be doing another hardcore iron review. I think the next gym is going to be Diamond Gym in New Jersey, which has been a hardcore gym for years. But until then, gentlemen and ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate all the support and everybody who watches this and everybody who hits like and everybody who comments. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. Love all you guys out there. So just keep it coming. And I'm going to keep giving you the greatest content ever. All right. Have a good night.